Welcome back to the Lightkeeper's Path. I'm your host, Kimberly Catherine, and I'm so happy you're here. Today, I want to share the second key practice that helped me reclaim my body, my peace, and my light. This episode is about a simple but powerful somatic tool that came into my life when I was absolutely frayed, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's called EFT Tapping with Subconscious Reprogramming, and it became a lifeline during one of the most dysregulated seasons of my life. It was July 2023. My ex-husband and I had separated earlier that year. I had just moved into a new home. Everything felt uncertain. I wasn't sleeping much. My nervous system was shot. And to be honest, I was in a near constant state of fight or flight, unless I was running. Running was the only time I felt somewhat regulated, the only time my body could exhale. One day, I saw a class listed at a local yoga studio, EFT Tapping. I had heard about it before, but didn't really understand what it was. Still, something nudged me to go. So I showed up. The class was small, maybe 4 or 5 of us in it. Carly, the facilitator, was warm, grounded, and kind. She introduced herself and shared how this session would unfold. We each gave a brief introduction. I was quiet, guarded, but curious. And then we began. As I tapped along and repeated the phrases Carly offered, something unexpected began to happen. If you're not familiar with EFT tapping, you start at the top of your head and you tap, 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 then the side, tap, 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 then under your eyes, tap, 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 under your nose, tap, 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 and then your chest, tap, tap, tap. And then the most profound is when you do under your arm, tap, tap, tap. While you're tapping, you say these phrases that Carly or the facilitator will supply to you. There was a profound release that I had, one I wasn't anticipating. Emotion started to rise, and my shoulders softened. My breath deepened. Tears welled up, not out of sadness, but from relief. My body finally felt safe enough to let go. I'd been holding on for so long, so tightly, I didn't even realize. That moment was so profound. I realized this wasn't just mindset work. This was somatic healing, and my nervous system was responding. I'd never really heard of somatic healing or work. EFT, also known as Emotional Freedom Technique or tapping, is a self-soothing practice rooted in traditional Chinese medicine. As you tap gently on specific meridian points, you speak aloud emotional stressors, whether they're rooted in the past, present, or even anticipated in the future. This process helps move and release the emotional energy that gets stuck from life's experiences. It's subtle, but incredibly profound. At the time, I was in talk therapy with an amazing practitioner. Talk therapy was a life raft in many ways. It helped me name what I had been through and begin the process of understanding. But in hindsight, that was only the first layer because talk therapy works mostly with the conscious mind. The deep healing I longed for lived in the subconscious and in the body. That's where EFT tapping with subconscious reprogramming began to shift things. If you've ever felt like you've talked through something but still get triggered by it, you're not alone. That's the subconscious saying, there's still something here. Tapping works directly with that deeper root. It helps neutralize emotional charges and dismantle the pattern at the root. That first class cracked something open. That night, I didn't sleep through the night, but I did feel something I felt in a long time, a sense of calm, a quiet exhale, a moment of stillness in my body that reminded me healing was possible. 2 weeks later, I went back to Carly's next class. That's where I met a really beautiful woman who would later become a dear friend. Another reminder that when we step into our healing spaces, we often call in soul-aligned connections. It was also the beginning of something equally important, building a new sense of community. A circle of support that felt nourishing, authentic, and essential for my healing and forward momentum. By September 2023, I began working one-on-one with Carly. She's not only a skilled EFT guide, but also an authentic and creative woman's coach. We worked together for 4 months one-on-one. And in between, I attended every group class that she offered at the local yoga studio. That's when I was introduced to Subconscious Reprograming, a practice that originated from EFT. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I trusted her and I trusted what my body was showing me. Subconscious programming is based on the understanding that we are vibrational beings, living, breathing fields of energy. I often visualize this as my aura or my matrix. And within that field lives everything: our beliefs, our memories, our traumas, our joys, and patterns and projections. What's in our energy field is what we project, and ultimately what we attract. The one-on-one work was incredibly powerful. I already loved EFT for the way it helped me move emotion out of my body and calm my nervous system. But when you layer in subconscious reprogramming, it takes the healing to a whole new level. You're not just processing emotion, you're rewriting the script. You're stepping into a moment of past trauma or emotional pain and taking your power back. The trauma or incident you're working with might have lasted only 3 minutes in real time, but the energetic imprint of it can shape your entire life. Subconscious work gives you the opportunity to go back into that moment, not to relive it, but to reclaim it, to support your younger self, to be in charge of how the story ends. That kind of energetic rewriting is priceless. It creates a ripple effect in how you think, feel, respond, and show up. In our sessions, we created space for that kind of deep healing. And much of our focus was helping me shift out of chronic fight or flight, which had been my default unless I was running. That had been my only relief, but now I was finding that same sense of regulation and release without movement through presence, tapping, and somatic integration. Session by session, my nervous system began to stabilize. My energy shifted, and I started to feel like myself again, only safer, clearer, and more whole. If your body is holding tension or emotion that hasn't found a safe way out, what would it feel like to try something new? Could the next step be less about doing more and more about feeling more safely and gently? Thank you for being here with me today. Whether you're brand new to somatic healing or already on this path, I hope this episode reminds you that true healing happens in layers and that your body holds the wisdom to guide you home. If this episode resonated with you, please consider subscribing on the podcast, giving it a like or review, or sharing it with someone who might need this message to hear today. Your support truly helps this path reach more light keepers like you. And if you'd like to stay connected, come follow me on Instagram at kimberly.catherine.spirits. That's where I share more insights, healing tools, and behind-the-scenes reflections from the Lightkeeper's Path. And if you'd like a session with me, please go to my website at thekimberlycatherine.com and use code LIGHT for 10% off. Until next time, keep tending to your light, and I'll be seeing you soon. Make it a beautiful day.